55% increase in farm bankruptcies. Yes, farmers, a 55% increase in family farm. Most farmers voted for the Trump administration again, despite what Trump did to farmers in his first term. If you are unaware, farmers and cattle ranchers are projected to lose $49.5 billion just in 2025, according to USDA for agriculture. Farmers have lost soybean, they have lost corn, cattle ranchers have lost beef. So yes, farm bankruptcies are up, and I believe likely are going to get worse because I don't think these countries are coming back, if ever, at least until Trump is gone. So no, most farmers, most small businesses are not going to be able to hang on that long. This is another hard FAFO for farmers. And unfortunately, what can you do because they repeatedly vote Republican?
We have some serious news right now. Farm leaders across the country, but especially in California, are warning that mass deportations could potentially lead to crippling food supply issues in the U.S. food supply chain.
There's stories all over the internet about farmers going bankrupt across the country. And I want you to know, I want to feel sorry for you. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to care at all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because typically I have empathy, but I'm really, really tired of telling you farmers and you people that are in rural parts of the United States, I'm tired of telling you what your vote does to you. Yeah, I mean, you guys in the red states, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're broke. You don't have any money. West Virginia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, you get my point. You're broke. And yet you keep voting for the Republican Party that wants nothing to do with you. And farmers, guess what? You're included. But you keep voting red, and now you want me to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. I just can't.
$55%. That's the rate that American farmers have been declaring bankruptcy over and above last year. 55% more bankruptcies of American farmers. And it's the conditions, the economic conditions that are contributing to it. A lack of a workforce, a lack of labor, tariffs, I mean, the whole 9 yards. You know, everything this administration has done is contributing to these people losing everything. They're losing the farm, right?
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks again for choosing us today. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and leaving a comment down below. All right, it's going down. Farmers are going bankrupt all across the country. You know, they're calling for a strike in California. In Texas, the crops are rotting on the ground. Why? Because they relied on 100% of their farm labor from immigrants, and there is nobody to pick up the crops. You know, everything is rotting on the ground. And the aftermath of this, you know, prices of groceries are going to go high, because when there is high demand and less supply, we all know what happens. The prices of groceries are gonna go up. This is crazy. This is exactly what they did to themselves, especially a lot of these MAGA farmers. We all know that the majority of farmers in the United States are actually MAGA. And the problem is, you know, they keep on voting against their best interests since 2017, when the Orange Man was first in office. We all know what happened with the tariffs. Now they did that again back in 2024, but they're crying, looking for sympathy, asking for, government subsidies to come and help them. It's going down. This is exactly what they're getting. They effed around, now they're finding out. But let's take a look, guys. Let me know what you think about this episode in the comment section. I'll be back with more commentary.
The University of Arkansas did a recent study because farmers are filing for Chapter 12 bankruptcy at an alarming rate. There's a lot of things that are driving that. And before you say, I told you so, they all voted for it, it's going to hurt us too. So, just so you can own the red hats isn't necessarily the greatest way to look at this, because it's going to hurt us, and it's going to hurt a lot of people that really cannot afford to have it hurt them. So here's what's going on in the farm world and why they're filing bankruptcy. And this is not just small independent, this is moderate, this is larger farms. The cost to manufacture the items or grow the goods is gone up. So seeds, fertilizers, stakes, workers is all increasing. And the workers, there's a lack of them because of the indiscriminate raids that have been going on. But it's not just the farm workers, it's also the packaging facilities. So all of those things that the farmer grows goes to packaging facilities to end up in our grocery store. And they've been raiding both farms and those facilities. So we have a downturn of employees to process things. So it's a problem. The secondary offset is that every season they take out loans to finance the current season. And the loans are between 7 and 9% interest, which is direct impact because of inflation is why those loans are higher. But also the CFPB has been repealed, and therefore, you don't have bank regulations as much before as the consumer protection situation. Then the marketplace, the commodities. So when you finish making your farming items, the price to sell them is low. So they're not recouping their funds at the end of the season. And that is a problem because they're not being able to pay off the loans. All of those are going to lead to one or two things. We're going to have a shortage because there's going to be less of them out there producing for us. And two, the costs are going to go up because of all of the items that I just listed. So this is a direct impact of who we currently have in office and a lot of the policies he's put in place. But it is going to hurt us at the grocery store, and that's the bigger problem.
Well, the latest blow to farmers, specifically farmers in Kansas, is going to be wheat. Wheat. When Doge and Trump killed the program that sent 4 billion people in 150 countries around the world, 80% of farmers in this area voted for Trump. The projected agricultural deficit, you heard me, deficit from the USDA predicted for 2025, including wheat, is $49.5 billion deficit to agriculture. This includes farming and cattle ranching. Why did these farmers vote Republican? Did you know that Trump did the same thing to them in his first term? Tariffs are a tax paid by the person who brings it in and then passed on to the consumer. If the other country puts a reciprocal tariff on us, that costs us money. Tariffs are a disaster.
55%. That's the rate that American farmers have been declaring bankruptcy over and above last year. 55% more bankruptcies of American farmers. And it's the conditions, the economic conditions that are contributing to it. A lack of a workforce, a lack of labor, tariffs, I mean, the whole 9 yards. You know, everything this administration has done is contributing to these people losing everything. They're losing the farm, right? So why is this important? Why should you care? Well, what happens when a family declares bankruptcy is that their property is sold in a sheriff's auction to satisfy creditors. And so they lose their property. It's fire sailed. And, you know, if they've got a $1 million loan on the 1,000 acres they got, and they get $500,000 for the property, well, they're on the hook for another $500,000. We're talking about generations that have farmed land, that have been farmers their entire lives, losing everything because they can't sell a product overseas. I mean, most of our corn and grain is sold to other countries, and the tariffs are making it more expensive than other options. So they can't sell what they've farmed for decades or centuries. So what's the end run here? Why is this happening? Well, my speculation is that there's large, massive farming operations out there, very large corporations that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of acres. For example, the King Ranch. And 25 years ago, they had 1 million acres and several 100,000 head of cattle. And they're looking to expand. So how do you expand cheaply? Well, what you do is you get somebody to pass legislation that's going to make family farms file bankruptcy. And then instead of giving them fair market value for it, you can just buy the land in foreclosure. So, well, out of bankruptcy. So that's the end run here. That's what all these policies are doing, is simply gutting family farmers to allow corporations to get farmland cheaply. It's a shame. It's sad. It's shameful. But that's what this administration is going for, you know? Line the pockets of the big corporations, the big farmers, and shaft us.
This is wild. 55% increase in farm bankruptcies. This is wild. And exactly what a lot of people have been saying to you guys. Black folks, Democrats, they'll come and tell you, we told you so. You know, we warned you, we tried to warn you, but you did not listen. These people are like a cult. They just believe everything that they hear from the orange man, because you know, MAGA is just like a cult. They don't actually do any kind of research. Why did you guys not do any kind of research to understand how a tariff works? Because right now it's American farm workers that are actually paying the tariffs. You know, is exactly what people try to warn you about, but you did not want to listen. Yeah, exactly what you voted for is what you're getting. The only problem is that the whole of America is gonna go on food shortage, the prices of groceries is gonna go up, and the living standards are gonna get a little bit tricky. But yeah, who's to blame here? MAGA is the culprit, because they actually went ahead and voted for policies that they did not actually research to understand how it actually affects them. Now they want to go on strike. Striking for what? It is exactly what you voted for, exactly what you are getting.
So a lot of people may have missed it, but have y'all seen this? So first, let me describe what you're seeing. What you are seeing is a protest by Maine farmers. These are people, by and large, who voted for and supported Donald Trump. While Kamala won the state of Maine, and she won it by not the margins that you would typically see when there was a clear difference between what Donald Trump was saying and what Kamala was saying, he won, Donald Trump won this specific district where there is a significant population of rural voters and farmers. So this is how the news in Maine explained this situation.
Department of Agriculture has angered those who work on small farms across the state.
Political reporter Kate McCusker heard from Maine's farmers who gathered to protest in Augusta today.
With some arriving on tractors and one even carrying a bucket of manure, today Maine farmers gathering to protest recent cuts by the Trump administration. Several farmers from across the state spoke out against recent cuts by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to school lunch programs and food banks. They say federal funding is crucial for small farmers to sustain their business. Some say they've already invested money that the federal government had promised to reimburse them for, or have signed contracts to support them. And overall, they say the uncertainty and confusion is hurting the industry.
This is not a partisan issue for me. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a Mainer who thinks we need farms and farmers to feed people in our state.
So Maine farmers, help me to do the math here. 1 + 1 = 2. The sky is what color? Blue. If someone tells you who they are, it's best you believe them. Donald Trump said that these were the things that he was going to do, and he did them. He talked about tariffs, and he talked about cutting the Department of Agriculture. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. This is your around and find out moment. Just enjoy it. Take it like a man or woman. You voted for this. This is exactly what you deserve.
Yo, when we are talking about learning from your mistakes, there is one group that actually seems to never actually learn their lessons, and that is farmers, because they keep on repeating and repeating and repeating the same mistakes, expecting different results. And this is exactly the definition of insanity, in doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Now, why do these people keep on being gullible every time? Why do these people actually keep on, doing the same things, making the same mistakes, choosing the same choices and making the same decision, yet it keeps on hurting them? Yeah, the only possible reality that actually, I can think of is that these people actually are filled with too much hatred in them. They never care about other people. They never cared about, immigrants. They never cared about, people on the left, as long as the policies of the orange man never affected them. They were happy to vote for a great America that included them but excluded other people. They were happy to vote for Trump policies as long as it didn't touch them. Now that everything is actually turning against them, they're finding out that, wait a minute, deporting immigrants actually does hurt our farmlands. It, makes us go bankrupt. Of course, what did you think? You have like 80, 60, some places like Texas have 100% of their workforce and labor force, comprised of immigrants. What did you think that was going to happen? I don't really get it. Do you think that melanated people were going to work on your farms? Did you think that American youths were going to work on your farms, yet you are still paying under the minimum wage? Of course not. That was never going to happen. Nobody was going to come, and stay in the sun all day picking up crops only to work under minimum wage. Nobody is gonna do that unless you're ready to up your salary, up your payment. No American citizen is gonna do that kind of work. Yeah, the only people that actually were happy to do this, this hard work, because they were looking for a living, and they spend their money mostly in their countries where they convert it, and because the US dollar is superior, they get at least some value out of it, is exactly the people you did not want in the country. and that is immigrants from South America, from Mexico, from Colombia, from Guatemala, all these places, including Africa. Those are the people that actually were happy to do the work, because otherwise they wouldn't get any other job, because they don't have social security, they're not naturalized, they don't have green card, so they're happy to do this farm work for you guys. But you showed them the middle finger and actually voted to get them deported. Now, what are you striking for? Because as report has it, American farm workers in California were organizing a 3-day strike. What are you striking for? You voted for this. You wanted this. Why are you not happy? The only problem is that this is going to affect everybody. Food shortages and food prices are going to go high. Now, did anybody deserve this? Of course not. Do you deserve what's happening to you? In a way, you do. It's only that your mistakes and you actually paying the price for exactly your mistakes affects other people. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about today's episode? I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and as always, see you in the next episode.